Hey guys, welcome back to another F1 2021 video. I do apologize for the delay with this video. I have been busy. I haven't had a whole lot of time to play the game or do any recording. And my Share Factory application also wasn't working properly, so I've had to try and fix that. But it's working now. I can finally do commentary and we can carry on with the journey. Before we begin, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and straight into the video. So in the last episode, we finished off Season 3. We ended at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, seen here, taking the checkered flag in the final race of the season. There he is, right there. Happy about the win. He did end up, I think, third in the drivers' standings. So, good on him. Valtteri Bottas taking his first World Drivers' Championship. So good on him taking his first championship, which we will be looking to do in this next season, in Season 4. So jumping straight into prep for next season, we are sending an offer back to Michael Schumacher. We are hopefully going to be able to keep him for the entire season this time around. We do have a bit of money to spend, so we are going to upgrade the powertrain facility to Spec 3. So, primary sponsor cash coming through. We did get 4th in the constructors. So, a bit of money there as well, which will help us to build up for the next season. DSB Optics, now our primary sponsor, finished 3rd or better in the constructors. We are aiming for 1st. We've gone back to Renault for the engine because I think it sounds the best. And this is the new look for Season 4. So, I wanted to go with more of a black livery. Sort of more of a New Zealand representation, and the cool little optic livery part added to it. So basically we just have a whole lot of money to spend. We want to upgrade, so we're upgrading powertrain and durability to Spec 3, as they're the only 2 facilities we have left with upgrades to be researched. So, and we've got almost 10,000 resource points because we haven't been able to upgrade anything at the end of the last season. So, a couple of powertrain upgrades there going on. Spending a lot more money in the personnel department to try and get Schumacher to his peak, or back to his peak, so that we can hopefully make a push for winning the constructors this season. So, yeah, a lot to unpack there, but basically we're just aiming to have the best car, which I think at this point we pretty much do. Ready in time for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So qualifying, I actually had a bit of an issue here, just getting used to the car. It has been a little while since I played the game, and it just didn't quite feel the same. So qualifying wasn't very good. I also did have the difficulty quite high for this track, so I did have to go back to the difficulty calculator to see what I should have had it at, and I did have it a little bit high. So we do end up P16 on the grid. I think Schumacher was P4 maybe? I can't really remember, but it's yeah, so be starting a bit further back down the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Michael Schumacher, Pierre Gasly and Tsunoda, Bottas, Hamilton, Perez and Esteban Ocon, Norris, Ricciardo, George Russell and Giovinazzi, the captain, Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi, Lundgaard, Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So there is the grid for this race and for the season. So no changes to drivers for this season. We're going to be going 2-stop for this race. Mediums to hards. I did enjoy using the hards a bit last season. I got a bit more used to them, as we have a great start off the line here. We're actually going to pick up a position on Zhou, but then we lose one to Stroll. That Aston Martin really quick off the line, and right up the inside into turn 1. We managed to get all the way up into P11 as Norris and Bottas get tied up there, and we capitalise on that. Go off the track a little bit, but no penalty or no need to give any places back there. We managed to keep a wheel in the lines, and we're now up in the points, up into P9 here on the first lap. I'm pretty confident with this car that we can take it all the way. Schumacher's dropped to 7th. Hamilton sandwiched in between us here. The two Mercedes starting a bit further back on the grid this season, with Red Bull and Ferrari dominating qualifying, and I think they also sort of were dominating in practice as well. Maybe showing shades of what the actual 2022 season was, with Mercedes not performing well off the start. But we will have to wait and see how things go as we try to make a move on Hamilton, but we just can't quite get it done. Our cars feels a bit quicker through the corners. Also able to get onto the power a lot quicker than these guys, especially at that turn at the top of the hill.
Keep it up.
That middle sector after the second DRS zone, sorry, is a bit of a strength for us. The AI seems to slow down a little bit as we go around the inside of that corner there, and we gain a place on Hamilton. We're now up into P8. And we just managed to hold on there as Hamilton actually started to close that gap up again. Schumacher is now in front of us. He's a second ahead and that gap is growing. So the softs are going to be a lot faster at first, but they will wear a lot quicker than the mediums. And as long as we can stay within range of these guys for the rest of this lap until we can start gaining some DRS, we should be okay. As Norris has now moved ahead of Hamilton, I only just noticed that, so Hamilton's now dropped another place. We now have the McLaren behind us. DRS activated. We have managed to stay within the second to Schumacher, but he is starting to lose a little bit of pace to Perez. And if he can't close that gap, it's not going to be good for us. We need him to be able to get DRS on those guys to keep up with them and tow us along a little bit. Norris is still within DRS to us, so he's going to be a little bit of a problem for a little bit until those softs start to wear down. However, the McLaren isn't quite as high up the performance list as our car is, so maybe that will be a little bit of an equalizer for him. So we go off the power there, considering in, I think it was season 2, maybe even last season as well, we had some spins there, hitting the throttle too much around that corner as we go around the inside of Schumacher, just so we get such a big jump out of the corner up the top of the hill, and it just gives us a massive advantage heading down that straight. In terms of straight line speed, we're not going to be able to outrun these guys on the softs, but if we can get that jump out of the corner, it just gives us that little bit of an edge, and it seems like the straight is just the right length for us to be able to get ahead and keep in front of them heading into the final corners. Perez is going defensive now. We try and go around the outside on the brakes late, and he's taking the inside line, so he has to slow right down, which gives us a perfect line around the outside. So we're just capitalizing on some of these gaps, and we've actually got a fastest lap now as these soft compound tires are starting to wear out. So taking a look just around the outside, a good line there. Perez had to slow right down to get around the corner. And now that the traffic is all sort of spread out and everything's calmed down a bit and the drivers can get in decent lap times, the tyres have already worn down to the point where they aren't actually able to get those lap times, and Perez goes straight back in front of us on the DRS. Makes it look so easy. So our advantage only lasts for so long. Once they're back within DRS range of us, the softs still so much faster than our mediums. But we are getting towed along quite nicely by these guys. So we're actually punching well above our weight at the moment on these tyres. Thanks to the DRS, and also because we're using absolutely all of our ERS, or our available ERS each lap, to keep up with these guys. So we're pretty much overpowering this car. In terms of tyre wear, I think we're doing okay. Like, we're not really wearing tyres out too much. I've got the braking under control now, which I think is a massive jump for us. Using control, it's quite hard to get the proper to get like a good, I guess, brake pressure. A little too hard on the trigger, and you end up locking up all the wheels every single corner. So just trying to get that balance of actual braking but not locking up has taken me right up until this season to actually sort of figure out. But it looks like it's not quite enough now as the front runners are starting to pull away. We've pulled away from Norris. He's holding up my teammate, who I'm not sure what's going on with him, but he has dropped back a bit. Norris just capitalising on the overtakes that I make and just sneaking in. But we are pulling away from them, so it looks like Norris and Schumacher have been battling a bit. As we take a look now, as the AI are starting to come in and make their stops, so it looks like Verstappen is in, I do believe, going on to what looks like, I'm not really sure what tyres he's going on to. He's heading on to medium. So we also have so Schumacher's coming in. That looks like Hamilton. Nope, that's Bottas coming in, I think, going on to mediums as well. Schumacher in onto mediums. So the AI softs to mediums, and now in come the rest of the front runners. Oh, softs onto softs now, and Perez onto soft as well. So that was, I do believe that was Sainz. I think that one there is Gasly as well. So all going into the pits onto softs. Oh, sorry, no, that was Leclerc heading in the Ferrari. So in the previous set of pit stops earlier, I think on lap 7, we saw Verstappen, Bottas, and who was the other one? Not Gasly. Schumacher, my teammate, going into the pits onto mediums. And then a lap later, their team, some of the other drivers going into softs. So a little bit of a, not a split strategy as such. It looks like they're doing 2 stops. So interesting to see what happens as we lock up and go wide. We're now currently sitting P3. Tsunoda's into the pits. Sainz is into the pits now. So we are now effectively leading this Grand Prix with a hefty margin over Russell. We are, however, going to be doing a 1 stop onto hards, and it looks like these guys that are going on to mediums or softs potentially maybe pushing a 1 stop. Potentially doing a 2 stop as we take a look at our teammate now, Michael Schumacher, who is a bit further back in this DRS train as he tries to make a move on the Williams. He looks like he's quite a ways back. He manages to make the move stick, but he just has a poor entry into the final corner. which slows him down. So it's not really helping our case at the moment.
You'll be on the hards.
Alright, so we'll be heading into the pit soon to go into hards. It looks like most of the pack now have gone in and done their pit stops, so all mediums and softs. Leclerc has just posted a fastest lap on his set of softs. He's now up into P5. There's a decent gap between myself and Russell, still almost 5 seconds, but these tyres are starting to wear down. Yeah, as Jeff just said, grip level's starting to fall away. It's becoming a little bit harder to keep this car in a decent line. Looks like we now have a safety car, and it looks like quite a few cars have been stopped down around turn 1. Not really too sure what happened there.
Got that confirmed.
Okay, so it looks like we are looking at changing. Well, I've decided to change the strategy there. So we'll take a look at what happened here. So Guan Yu Zhou here goes into a spin. I'm not sure what happened there. As he goes around the corner, he just hits the throttle too hard, and he ends up stopping some of the cars. And my teammate, there's Michael Schumacher, and he backs out and actually slows him down even more. So as we'll take a look from Schumacher's point of view now. Around the outside, he sees Zhou and he thinks, I'm going to go off the track here, and Zhou just ends up backing out enough to mess that up. So that's not good for our team. I'm going to be heading into the pits now. A little bit of a lock up there heading into the pits. But we're going to be heading in. I have decided to change back to my original strategy. We are going to be going on to the hards. I didn't really want to do a 2-stop. A little bit slow on that front left, and we also did have some front wing damage. It must have been very minor because I didn't notice any drop in performance. However, it does mean that that Russell and Ricciardo have both overtaken me out of the pits. Still under safety car into turn 1. We clipped Gasly a little bit there. No front wing damage though, so we managed to get away there. But now we've got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Gasly. It wasn't even that hard. That was like, I didn't even take any front wing damage. It was so soft. Oh, that is so frustrating. We were doing so well, and now to have a 5-second penalty that we're going to have to overcome. All because of what they deemed to be a severe collision. Oh, I'm not happy about that, but I guess under safety car, a slower speed collision would still technically fall into the realms of severe contact, but I'm not sure as we go up the inside. Another big move at turn 1 like we did at the start. A little bit of a slide out of that corner. We do manage to gain 2 positions there on Gasly and Ricciardo. So now we're up into P8 now behind Russell and P7 in the Alpine. About to say the Williams, but he hasn't been in the Williams for the last 2 seasons, I think. So all we have to do now is try and hold on to the DRS with these guys until they make their pit stop, and then hopefully we can go to the end. But we will have to wait and see. As we're on board now with, I think, Nicholas Latifi, and that does not sound good, and that doesn't look good. And he is now off the track. There's no smoke coming out, so he is now out of this race. I can only assume that was a gearbox problem. No smoke, so it couldn't have been engine part. But it did look like it did get stuck in gear. So unfortunate for him. But also unfortunate for us, as we've lost a position to Ricciardo, who is on the softs. We do get a good run out of the final corner like we normally do. ERS as well, we've been trying to use as much of that as possible. We managed to get ahead of Ricciardo,
Nice move. Good
who did box for softs before, I think. Went on to the softs, or maybe he went on to the mediums, and he's gone to the softs in the safety car lap. So we try to make a move there, and we end up just losing a position to Gasly. We're now back into P10. Schumacher's in P12, so he's managed to get back up through the ranks, and Bottas right behind us. So now we are behind all of the soft compound runners, which is to be expected. And we've now got medium compound runners behind us who we can potentially keep behind us because we do have a better car. I think we've got a better car than the Mercedes. If we don't have the best car, we'd be close to the top. But we should be able to keep them behind us. These front runners here will probably end up losing touch to them soon. We are just staying within the second of Gasly, but he does have that speed advantage on us. He's gained almost a tenth there, just in that one straight. But the corners is where we have the advantage, especially around the top of this hill, because we can just hit this corner just a little bit better and gain so much time on them. But then halfway down the straight they are pulling away again. So we really do have to just hit our lines, hit those corners, make sure we're hitting those apexes and just powering out of the corners as quickly as possible.
Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
So we've got DRS now. We actually, surprisingly enough, got a purple sector through Sector 3. So Sector 3 is definitely not kind on the AI. They are slower through those corners and around this long sweeping left-hander, and then to the right-hander they're also slow because they hit the brakes, or they ease off the power to stay on the line. As we go purple through Sector 2, a little bit of contact there with Gasly. We managed to gain a position, not a good exit. So we haven't been able to gain any time on Ricciardo, but we have moved up one position as the front runners are coming in now. Looks like Verstappen. No, that would be Perez. Bottas as well. We've got a lot of cars coming in now. Now for Tauri there. I think it's Sonoda. We've got the Ferrari of Leclerc that's come in as well. Front wing damage there for, I think, Gasly. Might have been from that collision we had. One of the Alpines is out as well. And Lando Norris on there on mediums as well. So a lot of cars coming in. A lot of the front runners going in to go on to, I do believe, medium compound tyres. So they should be running to the end of this race. We have pulled away from Bottas and Schumacher a bit. They've been battling. So they've been holding each other up, which has meant that I've been able to pull away. But we are losing pace to the top 5 here. We're out of DRS range. A little bit of a hiccup there at that corner means we don't get out as well as we want to. Okay, so a mechanical problem for I think Jeff said Stroll. So a little bit of an issue for one of the Aston Martins there, which really shouldn't affect our race too much. As it looks like Sainz and Tsunoda are into the pits. Ricciardo, Russell, and I think Sergio Perez is currently leading at the moment. Both all staying out on their softs for at least another lap. So it will be interesting to see what happens with them. Maybe they'll pit this time around. So they are pulling away. Now it's now a 2-second gap. Ricciardo's up in second. Russell in third. Russell 2 seconds ahead of us. We're now 3 seconds ahead of Bottas. So we've been slowly pulling away from Bottas. He did go into his mediums a while ago, so he should be getting ready to come in for another stop. So Verstappen was leading. Verstappen into the pits. And it looks like Bottas and Schumacher are also coming in now, along with whoever's in that Alpine. So Schumacher in, going from mediums onto another set of mediums. So he'll be running right to the end of the Grand Prix on these mediums now as he just ducks out behind Bottas. So he loses a place there to Bottas. But he's on to mediums, on a fresh mediums as we get him through to the end of the race. We are still sitting P3. Technically P4 behind Giovinazzi. So Giovinazzi and Guan Yu Zhou are 4th and 5th for Alfa Romeo. They've managed to climb all the way up. They are on softs, so they should be going in for another pit stop at some point to go onto mediums again, or either onto another set of softs, depending on what they started with in this race. Russell, 3 seconds ahead of us, almost 3 seconds. We do gain a lot of time in sector 3, but we do make a big mistake there. Corner cutting warning, braking too early, and we've just messed up any kind of gain we could have got there over Russell and Ricciardo, although they do have to make another pit stop before the end of this race. And it looks like Russell's into the pits now. Ricciardo is staying out yet again. So I don't know how long Ricciardo's hoping to start on these softs, although I do believe he has already done 2 stops thanks to the safety car. So I'm not sure how long he's going to run on these or what compound he's going to be going to. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. He is 5 seconds ahead though. Giovinazzi still P3. He hasn't had his other pit stop yet though, and here goes Ricciardo into the pits, heading in for his final stop. And there we go, claiming the lead of this Grand Prix, and Ricciardo is going on to another set of softs. So these are going to take a little while to warm up, and we have a little bit of a head start on him. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that, as we have Verstappen making a move on, I believe, Robert Schwartzman in the AlphaTauri. And Norris looking to go up the inside as well. Doesn't quite make it work though. Sergio Perez behind him. And then, it's Ricciardo in 4th. Joining back into the race. Not Norris. Norris must be further back. So that was Ricciardo rejoining the race. And we make a big spin on that long sweeping right-hander up the hill. We lose a spot to Giovinazzi. We were leading this Grand Prix. Now Giovinazzi has taken over the lead, but he has to be pitting soon. He's been on those softs for a while, but we have lost quite a lot of time. So Giovinazzi's heading into the pits now to go on to either softs or mediums. And we have retaken the lead of this Grand Prix with 8 laps left to go, but we do have a 5-second penalty. Verstappen 10 seconds behind on mediums. Ricciardo, and so Mick Schumacher, out of this Grand Prix with an engine failure, as you can see there. So not a good start to the season for him. He joins Latifi in the DNF column. So we just had a ripper of a 3rd sector there, going purple yet again. But sector 1 and 2 we are losing a little bit of time to everyone else. So there's where the AI is going to be gaining on us, as we take a look at Verstappen and Ricciardo battling now. Ricciardo makes a big move on Verstappen, heading down to the inside of turn 1, and he manages to make it stick. So now Ricciardo has moved up into P2, Verstappen P3. We're currently leading, but for how long? Verstappen hasn't really closing the gap. Those mediums are not really helping him as much as he would have liked. Ricciardo just posted the fastest lap, a 1:30.8. He's a full second faster than what our fastest lap was. He is on the soft compound tyre, and the gap is now 1.5 seconds. We've got 3 laps left. Ricciardo is now effectively in P1 after our 5-second penalty is calculated, and he is right behind us now. He's eyeing us up. He's almost in DRS range, but it's only been 3 or 4 laps as we lock up the tyres, lock up all the wheels there, heading into the right-hander. And that has got him back within DRS range. So he's managed to claw back about 10 seconds on us in, 4 laps? Which is absolutely ridiculous. He is on softs. I am on hards. As we head into the hairpin left, we lock up and go wide. And Ricciardo capitalises and takes over the lead of this Grand Prix. Verstappen is now 3 seconds behind us. So he is technically in P2 at the moment. Perez 8.5 seconds behind. So we are currently racing to maintain a spot on the podium as we try to look up the inside of Ricciardo on the straight, but we just don't have the pace. He's on warmed up soft compound tyres and we are on oldish hard compound tyres, so he definitely has the pace advantage on us. We have managed to keep up with him. We're back to within a second of him at the end of lap 28. Final lap of the race. Verstappen 3 seconds behind us still. Perez, we've now managed to extend a gap out to 9 seconds. We've managed to gain half a second on Perez in this last lap. But unless we can gain a couple of seconds on Verstappen, it looks like it's probably going to be a P3 finish for us today. As long as we don't make any mistakes, we just hold on here. We go green through sector 1, which is probably the first time in a number of laps that we've managed to go green through any of the first 2 sectors. We are pulling up to Ricciardo, so those soft compound tyres would be starting to wear out now. But I can't imagine they'd be wearing out to the extent that we would be able to pass them and have Verstappen pass them and hold them up. But we are pushing. We have a 5-second penalty. We're not fighting for a win here, but I would love to finish to cross the finish line first and just show the rest of the pack what our car can do. As we have a great exit out of the corner at the top of the hill, we go flying straight past Ricciardo with ERS. We're almost out for the lap. Final corner, we go wide, a little bit of a slide there. Ricciardo's trying to close the gap, but we managed to cross the line.
Guys, you've been great all weekend. Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah, thanks team. We managed to cross the line first here in Bahrain. We do have a 5-second penalty, but we have shown the rest of the field exactly what Cross GT Racing can do this season.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here at Sakir. And rightly so. What a brilliant effort from the whole team. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
So there we have it. Due to a 5-second penalty, we finish P3 here in Bahrain. A podium finish in our first race of Season 4. And Daniel Ricciardo takes the win for McLaren. They will be stoked about that. He also gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He was the only driver to go sub 131. So he was actually almost 6 tenths faster than Verstappen in that one. So we managed to finish P3. We do claim 15 points for ourselves and our team. Schumacher finishing a bit further down the pack, thanks to that spin by Zhou earlier on in the race, which kind of screwed up the rest of his drive today. But a good performance for us. It shows that we're definitely a force to be reckoned with this season. We've only got a handful of upgrades left to get onto the car before we have maxed it out. Just waiting on some powertrain upgrades to come through. Hopefully we'll get them on before Imola. If all goes well, they will come through fine. We also have a few durability upgrades that we need to look at as well. Durability though I'm not too fussed about. We will probably take penalties throughout the season like we did last season at some of the easier tracks, so that we can On a bit of slide there, as we just clipped one of the Red Bulls. I forgot all about that one. But we managed to hold on to it, so we only lost to one position, which was good. Yeah, so looking ahead, we are in a pretty good spot. That wasn't severe collision. That was so light. I should have had the win here today, but a podium in our very first race of the season is massive for us, and gives us a good position to start from for the rest of the season. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Hopefully I don't have any more issues with recording or just time in general, and having time to be able to get on the game, and I can get more videos out on more of a regular basis like I was before. This will probably be the last season I do on this game, but we'll just wait and see. Hopefully we can take home a Drivers' Championship and a Constructors' Championship this season. But we will have to wait and see how we go further down the track. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.